Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tangents, the podcast where we follow the conversational thread wherever it may go. As always, I'm your host, Cam. With me is my good friend, Alex.
Hello, I'm the other host for this one today.
And I think collectively, together, we've gotten a full 8 hours of sleep, evenly split in half. So I think today is going to be a really good day for the podcast.
Yes, this is going to go so well.
You can hear the enthusiasm in his voice, folks. That's how you know it's a good one.
I have been so busy this damn week. And I've not been getting much sleep. Oh, so yeah, I'm trying to stay as alert as I can be for this. We'll just see how it has to go.
Absolutely. So, I was reflecting, thinking even, maybe one would say meditating on what we were talking about last week about project planning, because I find that a lot of what I talked about is relatable outside of projects. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, skills are quite often very much transferable across different things, and project planning is something that can be used across all aspects of life.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm yawning. But but no, so the thing is I kind of realized that there is a lot of just extra stuff that kind of goes outside of project planning. So like a good example is we talked about like setting yourself up to succeed, you know, making sure you have a plan, but I actually had a topic proposed to me by a YouTube video I was watching. Two, actually. One of them was a video from, I'm trying to remember the channel's names. Really nice bald dude. But basically it was 3 ways to guarantee a ruined life, which I thought was a really good video. And another one, which was basically a content creator having a full-on mental breakdown and finally making a video for himself, which was also good. But these gave me like really good perspectives, which I've been thinking on for basically the entire week.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to more focus on the 3 ways to ruin your life because I think it's a really, really good video. And basically, the thing that I took away from it was consistency. Because, you know, I just got out of a really rough spot and I developed a lot of coping tools to help me deal with it. And these tools really helped me set up for a more successful and happier future. Anyway, things have been going well for about 2 weeks and I dropped half of them. And that's an issue.
Yeah, so what you mean is that you didn't form them into proper habits that you wanted to.
Yeah. So the thing is that's actually something that I kind of wanted to talk about was just getting into habits and being consistent because I would say consistency is probably one of the most important things that anyone can have in any field, be it creative or otherwise. So like, here's the thing. So for example, one of the things that I started doing to help myself process things is, you know me, I have a lot of grand ambitions and I have a lot of things on my mind consistently.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I've been able to say brain goes static so much over the last 2 or 3 weeks is just a demonstration of how well this technique has been working because I can actually properly have an empty headspace, which, you know, really nice. Highly recommend. Rent one from your local retailer. So the thing is, though, is that's because what I've been doing is I've been writing down errant thoughts that stress me out throughout the day. And then every Wednesday, instead of sculpting in my morning, I just wake up and I sort it. I just sit on my porch with my phone, write down actionable steps to kill whatever is ailing me. And that's worked really well. But for the last 2 weeks, I haven't done it. And the stress has been building. And I realized the issue here. And like, that's the thing. Everyone will make their own strategies that work for them. But when things go good, we almost always stop doing them. Like 100%. You've definitely had this happen to you, yeah?
Yeah, and no, I guess I'll say yeah. Yeah, I've definitely had this happen. It's just you do something and you see tangible effects by it, and then because it's not on the forefront, because something you just enters and occupies the mind, you just kind of drop it over time.
Yeah. Like a good example for me personally is when I was like really, really like down in the pits after I got out of college. One of the big things that I did in the morning to actually help with some velocity is I would literally kick the sheets off of my bed with enough force to send them like all the way off and just get out of bed. Like the thing is I would just kick my sheets off my bed because that's just a very strong action. Even if I wasn't enthusiastic to get up, I sure looked it. And then I would get up and do my bodybuilding. And like that was enough to get me some velocity to get out of the pit. And likewise, you know, this morning, didn't sleep really well. Definitely had a lot on my mind. I'd kick the sheets off my bed. the sheets are off. I got to get up now. Like, and that's a habit that I lost because it wasn't a necessary thing. And well, it wasn't necessary today. I got up. I'm doing stuff. Took a couple walks, had my sugar-free Monster, had my boomer juice, and like I'm here. But whenever I start to lack consistency, I find things inevitably pile up and get worse. Because like you are a very structured person, I would say, Alex. You put a lot of emphasis on the planning and organization.
Yeah, very much so. When it comes to like doing shit with friends, I'm always the one that like goes in and schedules, like trying to figure out how things are going. Like it's good to have a plan, and I very much like to do that. But at the same time, I do just do things very spontaneously and just out of the blue. So it's 50-50, mix of chaos and structure,
Yeah, but like that's the thing is like you have a structure you use for things that are important to you, which makes it harder for the things that are important to you to slip for reasons that are in your control. You are consistent in your structure.
I wouldn't say consistent, but but yeah, no, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Like the fact that you have these systems set up and ready to go is honestly phenomenal. Like again, to go back to last month when I was having all those issues, I actually didn't feel like eating, but I had a structure. I had to track my calories. So even if I didn't want to, I had no appetite. I still hit my 1800 because I had a structure and a system set up. So even at my worst, it couldn't get worse. Like I was consistent in tracking what I ate. So when I didn't want to eat, I still ate the necessary amount and got my nutrition in. Because taking care of yourself helps you out of pits. And by having the structure, I took care of myself. Like there's a quote I really like from Sir William of the Smith, which is, discipline is self-love. I would say that is a pretty strong point because when you are, serious about taking care of yourself, you just can't fall very far. Like you'll fall, but like because you're consistent in taking care of yourself, you can't fall super far.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with this. I'm having some kind of like doubts in my mind about what you're saying. But really? I'm trying to figure out like what it is before I say anything, and my mind is just slugging today. So
yeah, it seems like the thing that we both need to consistently work on is getting 8 hours of sleep a night. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like a lot of what I say is subjective on a person-to-person basis. There is no one way to live a happy life. Like for me, I try and deny myself desire and pleasure. I try to live as unhedonistically as possible, indulging in fun things regularly. But other people aren't happy unless they're like going full on into it. So like a lot of what I say is subjective. So never take anything I say as absolute gospel for a happy life. That's never how it is. I'm miserable a lot of days. I can't say as though I'm an expert. I've just failed enough to give you advice on where not to go.
Which is kind of a fair point. I mean, if you're listening to like, if you just take what people say online as just like face value and just be like, oh, that must be true. Yeah, then you're probably going to fall for a fair few things. Just jumping off that point real quick.
I mean, that's why I gave that whole talk a couple of episodes ago about like being an anti-motivational speaker, because like I can't fix anybody else. I can only fix myself.
Yeah, and what we're speaking about is literally just opinions and educated guesses at things that we somewhat know about. So
yeah. Like I can definitely say that consistency, at least for me, is what keeps me going and keeps me strong. But for other people, it might just be living in chaos and going out with friends whenever at random. And that's cool, like by all means. But if you're anything, like me, having structure in your day and being consistent is exceedingly helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's something that I think actually, because like this is why I was like, this can definitely make up half the episode at least, is I wanted to talk about how to actually get into a habit. Because I think this is like a very helpful thing. So basically, last month I decided that I needed to get back on the horse, figure myself out. And I did, and I realized I want to be a character sculptor. But I wasn't really able to sit down and just start sculpting people. So what I did is I woke up at 5, which is my holy hour because nobody else is up and the gym doesn't open till 6. And I sat down at my computer, put on my drawing glove, got the tablet in place, brought ZBrush open, I sketched on a sphere for 5 minutes, and I closed it. And that was my sculpting for the day. And then the next day, woke up, I did it for 10. And then for 15. And then for 20. So what I did is every day I would get up and put myself physically into position I would be in to do what I need to do. And now I'm doing it. Because I spent time to build up the mental process of the glove is on, the tablet's in my face, we are sitting, we are sculpting. And that was really, really helpful for making it so like when my glove goes on, it's go time. We're going.
It's go time.
Like that's what a lot of people I find do is like you got to ease into your habits. Like again, I fell off the horse. I stopped doing everything like 2 weeks ago. And I've just been inconsistent. It's not like I've stopped doing stuff. It just hasn't been as on as it should be.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I'm off kilter on exercise. I'm off kilter on sculpting. I'm off kilter on cooking. And I haven't been doing my brain journaling. All right. One at a time. Line yourselves up. So I took the week to figure myself out. And then Monday, I started doing my journaling again. But I haven't gone to the gym. My cooking has been not the best. I haven't been putting a lot of effort into it. And I haven't been sculpting as much. And then come Sunday, come tomorrow, I'm back at the gym. I'm going to do half an hour on the bike. That's 15 minutes less than normal, but I'm going to the gym.
That's the thing. When you're coming down with like reinstating habits that you've kind of formed up, it's going to be a lot easier because you've got those mental pathways. You've got you know what you're jumping into, and you have all this past knowledge and experience with it. So it's easier for you to like just pick things back up because you have that kind of those neural networks already set up. But as you say, like setting up a new habit is the best thing you can do is really just put yourself into the situation to force it. And so it becomes easier and easier over the days. Yeah. Like for like another good example is I've actually been redoing a lot of my like goals because I want to get back to doing YouTube consistently. But obviously that can't happen with the scope that I want. Like it's just unfeasible. So instead, I've decided how far down can the scope go and what tools can I make to allow the scope to go up responsibly. So, for example, with these game dev videos, I want to have some light animated segments where I can just be talking to somebody or like at a desk giving a little bit of like instruction. Yeah. But animation takes time, and I am a man famously bereft of that. Hey, I'm just going to put this out here. There's an easy way to make a single asset that you can just reuse over and over and over, especially for situations like that, unless you wanted to go down like CCP Grey kind of situation. Well, I haven't put too much thought into it past I want to have these animated segments, but want to know what my solution is? What's that? Get a VR pawn I can use in Unreal and just load it into every project that I work on, so then I can actually like walk through a scene and explain stuff in a kind of like VRC kind of way. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what I was going to suggest is like, why don't you make it, considering you're getting into sculpting, why don't you make yourself a model that you can just use and like, you know, rig up? Yeah, exactly. So like I was going through last night on my deck, just like writing it down on my laptop, and I felt genuinely powerful just sitting there doing that in like the moonlight. And that's a very powerful like mental connection with I am out on my deck, I have my laptop, I am sitting, I am scheming. Because I need to make sure that I'm regularly auditing my goals and how I'm doing and making sure they are, you know, SMART goals, they're achievable, they're measurable, etc. Yeah. So the thing that I realized is by setting these locations in my house, these items on my body and like everything else, getting into a habit is easier. If I'm in shorts and sneakers, if I'm not at the gym, I feel wrong. Like that's the full get up. That's go time, baby. That's like I gotta get out of my house. But easing into things is, I would say, probably the most important part of forming a new habit. Because if you don't, you will burn yourself out unless you are some sort of superhuman, which I think you and I both have done. You mean be superhumans? I'm sorry, hold on. Well, no, it's just exceedingly uncommon for someone to like pick up a new habit and just, you know, just run with it. Just no bar, no holds. They're just going, but, you know, they just don't burn out because they just, you know, are just good at jumping in fully and immersing themselves, unlike most people where it takes a lot of ramp up to get where they need to be to do the habit effectively. Yeah, so basically going hot turkey with it. Yeah. Yes, but I think the main way those kind of things happen is it doesn't... it's not aiming for it to become habitual. It's more a case of, oh, I need to learn this damn fast, otherwise I might lose my job, kind of thing.
That's fair.
So there's a very different motivation behind it.
You know what I hate about human evolution, just as like a complete sidebar?
What's that?
The fact that we're so loss adverse. Like, it weirdly bothers me that it's biologically programmed into us that we are more afraid of what we have to lose than what we can gain by putting in effort. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like the fear of starving is more powerful than the knowledge of having a stocked fridge.
Danger, Will Robinson. It's just danger perception.
Yeah, like the consequences of any choice we make are way more powerful than the potential benefits.
Yeah, which is a bad thing if you think about it, because like it has its uses, but it's not very useful. It's not that useful in like society as we need it right now, because we've overcome a lot of the issues.
Like being able to set long-term goals and work at them and fully acknowledge the consequences of working for them makes you more powerful than you could possibly imagine. But getting past that initial, like, what you're going to have to give to get there is, it's so difficult. It is so difficult. Oh, gross, the cicadas are up. Only 10:47. Get a job, you assholes. The bugs are just outside my window screaming.
Scream back, Sir Dominance.
Yeah, so like making habits of things that assist you in your day-to-day life, it's just a solid. It's just a good idea. It's something that you just should be doing. And like, you're gonna come up with tools to help you, especially when you got beat down a little bit, like lost a job, etc. Like, you'll come up with methods to keep yourself sane, because everyone has a self-preservation instinct. But it's important that you just keep them going. You keep them rolling. You keep doing them even when you don't need to do them, because they helped. And when you struggle again, they'll help again. Like, by maintaining these helpers, you basically set up, I don't want to say a wall, but like a line of defense for yourself. Also, I'm really proud of the fact that I sat down and wrote down my goals last night, just as an aside. That's really uncommon for me.
It wasn't that something that you used to do like every week or something like that?
Yeah, I used to take like regular monthly audits of it, which is something I guess I'm going to have to do again. You see what I'm saying?
Picking these habits back up.
Podcast lesson. But yeah, no, like that's the thing. Like last night, I just sat down and like I actually thought about my goals. I went on a walk with my roommate. We talked about them, because like in my area, or at least in my state, there's a lot of dead malls. Just a lot of dead malls.
Yeah, it's the mall graveyard.
Yeah, and I thought it would be really cool in like 10 years to buy one and turn it into a makerspace. There's a reason those malls failed, and it is 90% location. So, like, that goal obviously isn't realistic, but I was caught up in how cool it would be that I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, have you thought about YouTube creator spaces at all?
I have. But at the same time, kind of going down what you were talking about, like what back in high school, just as I was leaving, I had this big thing where, like, if I ever win the lottery and become super rich, I'm gonna buy my high school. Because just think about it, right? It's just like the perfect condominium or whatever it's called. All the rooms are there. There's a bunch of amenities on campus already. Each classroom could be basically a whole different bedroom. There we go. Set up. Sell them off, all this kind of stuff. But also could be used as a homeless shelter. I don't know. Just the idea of being like, I didn't really like my high school. I was like, I don't like you, so I'm going to buy you eventually. You watch me.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, so here's something I've noticed. I looked this up and I could be wrong. I didn't do too much research last night. There are no YouTube makerspaces in New England at all. There's none in Mass, none in Vermont, none in New Hampshire, none in Maine. Although, why would anything be in Maine, realistically? But, like, you get my point. There's no space nor infrastructure for content creators, and there just barely is for game developers. And that's literally because of the work of one man. Or, I mean, he's had a lot of help, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a niche that can be carved out here. There's something for an underrepresented group, which I think I am in a unique position to capitalize on. and I don't think Google will be, because they would have already. So like I can definitely just like make this happen, because I don't think anyone else will. Because why would you set something up in New Hampshire?
I think that's probably the reason why nobody has done it yet. I mean, is there like how big of a potential market is there for this?
Well, that's the thing. Like, we've got Boston. Like, we have straight up like a major city that is not being served with this level of infrastructure. Like, if you could drive, let's just say 40 minutes and get actual classes on like SEO, marketing, shorts, etc. And you could also rent like just some time with a computer, maybe rent a small studio space to record a video. That would be exceedingly helpful for a lot of content creators.
Yeah.
Like that's why I really like the concept of creator spaces and the fact that YouTube was doing them, because I think it serves to better help the platform by arming more creators just with knowledge. And at the end of the day, knowledge, especially on YouTube, is exceedingly powerful. Because if you have a stronger grasp on how to do things, you have a stronger grasp on how to like market yourself. And that's really good. That's super good. But I think like there just is a niche up here. Like there's so much stuff that I do just kind of want to do. And the fact that it's all written down now, I can start breaking it into stuff that like is important and is good. So it's like, oh, I need to have some community engagement in my scripted videos, but I don't want to just be reading people's comments randomly. And I thought it would be cool to add small quiet breaks in the videos where it's like one of my scenes unpopulated with people, and it's just a couple of comments pop up in like dialogue boxes as like thoughts of the crowd, stuff like that. It's like, I have these goals, I have these wants, and they are now in front of me. I can break them down. I can figure out what is going to work and what isn't going to work. And it's really kind of hot to break it down into steps. Project planning. It's all I talk about now.
I'm glad you found
I've been ruined.
I'm glad you found a constructive hobby at last.
Well, like, here's the thing. I do still want to do YouTube. It's just like, it's such a lift, dude. It's such a lift.
Yeah.
And like, I can't do it until I'm full-time with at least one job, because I need to be able to have my weekends to do this. So instead, what I'm doing is just like, I can't do it now, but I can set myself up for success when I can. And that's, I think, been the best part, is like, I can't do work, but I can. Like, I've got options to maintain myself, which again, set up good habits and think about your future and what you want. I'm your dad now. Don't call me daddy on Twitter. I'll block you. I don't care who you are. I'll just do it. I still find it weird that so many people call content creators daddy unprovoked. I mean, this was provoked, but like in general.
People are weird, man. And that's where I'm going to leave that. I don't want to delve into that one.
How many fathers have to fail for you to be calling me daddy?
Just one.
Oh, that does make sense.
I mean, how many fathers do people tend to have to ignore? How many parents do other people have? What?
At least 3.
I think you're doing things wrong over there.
Freedom parents. They're just better than European. You know how it goes. Just like just bigger, better. Bigger, better, Texas. Bigger, better, Texas. That's the state slogan, and that's how families work.
Wouldn't that essentially be against some of the Texas laws? Like gay marriage and shit.
Shut up. Bigger, better, Texas. Let's go.
Texas, the enigma.
Yeah, no, like, I joke, but like, I completely forgot what we were talking about. Bigger, better, Texas just made me think of Genius of a Film. And now all I can think of is bigger, better, yeehaw! And then the bomb blows up. Like, it's stuck in my head now. Yeah. Honestly, though, project management is like, I didn't expect this to become as big a passion for me as it has been. But
it's the same idea as like, are you the type of person that likes to have a very structured like setup around their room kind of thing? Like, oh, this piece of bit, like this is so and so. This needs to be over in this part, like area. Like,
yeah, I definitely do that.
So you like to be clean, you like to be organized. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same kind of thing as that. Like, project planning is just an extension of just planning and neatening things up around you and making sure, as you say, to have the systems in place and the protocols, all this kind of stuff, like, so you know how to deal with things.
Yeah.
So it's like Notion is essentially just like that for me. It like combines everything into one thing. I wonder if we could get sponsored by Notion, considering how much I mention it.
Hey, Notion, you know where to find us. You have all our data. Yeah, I was talking with my friend last night before I went out and sat on my deck, and I just told her straight up, like, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. And I have failed so many times at YouTube that I don't want to again. So I'm not going to. It's weird. I use such deterministic language for things that are completely outside my control. But I would say it is within my control. Like, ooh. Brain go burst. I'm sorry, I forgot to divide one of my subcategories because I didn't finish planning last night. Well, like, here's the thing. So, like, I was going through and auditing everything I would need for YouTube to be effective. How am I going to work on Reddit? How am I going to work on Twitter? Are we using Facebook? No. But, like, for example, what I just had to add in is I was like, okay, establish a plan to effectively market yourself on YouTube. And I forgot to separate it into shorts and full videos. Because I've learned a lot of content marketing recently. And one big thing is you can't really sell yourself with content if the content can't stand on its own. Because the end goal of getting someone on my channel is, I want you invested in me. I want you inside of me.
Oh, okay. Take a step back.
Emotionally. Don't touch me.
Take a step back.
Get off of my property.
Get back up now.
I am armed. Get off of my lawn.
Everyone, most people are armed these days.
But that's the thing. It's like, so I basically was like, okay, how are we going to do this on YouTube? And using shorts, I can drag people in with short tutorials, do more long form ones to get people onto the channel. But the hope and the goal is to get people to come to Lumo Blaze for Lumo Blaze. And the thing is as sorry, my leg just cramped. The thing is as I do this, it builds an audience. And while the audience won't tune into every video, it gives me more algorithm power, which lets me push stuff more. And it's stuff like that where, like, I can just use my personality into tutorials to get people into my less structured, less teachy videos. And then I can use that content on Reddit and Twitter to basically build up an audience there, which then builds up my overall brand reach, which builds up my worth, which builds up sponsor opportunities, which builds up, like, it builds up a lot, basically.
Yeah, gotta work from the building blocks.
Yep, and then start with merch, get the editor, do the second channel, etc., etc., etc. So it's stuff like I have a more concrete plan, and it's still in the works, but, like, when was the last time I had a plan this concrete,
I don't know.
I don't think ever. I don't think it's ever happened to this extent. Like, this is a wonderful change of pace, honestly.
But the question is, now that you've got this solid plan, are you doing the issue? Are you going to fall? Are you going to fall foul of the issue that we've spoken about before of over planning and paralyzing yourself?
I don't think so, because that was because I was getting too ambitious. This entire plan is built up around the notion of, if I get too ambitious, this probably dies. So, like, I'm trying to find where the spaces overlap. So making a short on YouTube can effectively be re-uploaded to Twitter. Making a tutorial for YouTube, a snippet of that can go on Reddit to show what I made and give people the option to come and look at how I did it. So it's like, it's basically just where and how can I reuse content?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to do, like, fun animated stuff for your videos? That's going to take a bit. So what you can do is rig it through VR. So it's basically like, where are my pitfalls? How am I stepping over them? Cool, let's step over them.
So we talked about the rigging of setting up like a 3D model for yourself. So what you're saying is you're going to become a VTuber.
Yeah.
Did you that put that pregnant pause? Did you not realize that? Did that not come to mind?
Yeah.
It's okay, Cam. You even live long enough.
Well, like, that's the thing, is, like, I was gonna have to make a 3D model for myself anyway, because it's just, I can reuse that for a lot of different projects. But I definitely didn't consider myself a VTuber, because I don't think a game dev VTuber exists. So I
There's your
just
niche.
didn't even.
There's your niche.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. God, who wants to sub to my tier 3 Twitch? I've got a fat ass. Let's go. I'm an e-girl now. Let's do it. Get in the hot tub. Get out of my hot tub. Again, why are you at my house? Leave my house.
Oh my
There's a gun in the hot tub. Get out of it.
I'm still waiting on my 3D model at the moment. Because like a big thing that I've been doing is like for a lot of my content, I'm moving into VR stuff, which some of a fair few of the things can allow you to like bring in your own models, like VR chat and Beat Saber and other things like this.
Yeah.
It's also Windows Mixed Reality. I believe there is a way to use that with custom models as well. So you can, in theory, play most games with a 3D representation of yourself.
Which is really sick, actually, like in concept.
I don't know how true that is. I'm still looking into it at the moment, but I can't really look into it at the moment without my model. But
I mean, you can just use a placeholder model while you figure it out.
I could, but nah. It's also a case of I don't have the time to really research into it at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't. But no, I'm waiting on my model, which I think is like a smart business investment for like what I do. Mainly for the fact that this one model is going to be extremely versatile because it's a base to build off of to set everything up. But it's also a case of I can use it in VR chat. People will be recognized, like it'll become synonymous with me because it's my avatar, and I can use it in recordings and stuff. I can use it in multiple different things. It can be used for, branding graphics and all this kind of stuff. Hey, do I need to make a interesting looking thumbnail for a video? Cool. I'll just drag it into Blender and I can pose it as I need to. It's extremely versatile in a lot of areas of content creation, especially if you're going to be working into like, VR based stuff.
It's exceedingly solid branding that gives you almost unlimited options down the line.
Yeah, and it's a case of, as you kind of time back into what you were saying, taking the steps forward to set up the building block as for something is going to like take a lot longer to get into. And it might be time, might be money, whatever it is, because I'm not the one actually making it. Once you've got that building block, it's easier to like kind of build up and up and up and branch out into different areas as they become available. So in a way, this model is a nice little kind of allegory for your consistency and growth.
Yeah, and like honestly, the big thing about being consistent too is it helps when you have like a defined image of who you are and who you want to be. Like I've had who I wanted to be for a while, but not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do has always been nebulous, but now I have it. I know exactly who I am, what I want, and where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone's going to have that. Like, I remember when we were talking about, like, people, figuring out what they wanted to do. We got a couple of comments of people basically just like, I feel good not knowing that you also struggle with this. Like, a lot of people didn't know where they wanted to go because, like, there's a lot of options in the world today. You ever think about that?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to, I know in particular, like we always come back to this one, but it's like with the example of YouTube and stuff like that. A lot of people, there's a fair few people that just be like, I just want to make stuff. Okay, cool. What do you want to make? I don't know. I just want to make videos. I want to become a YouTuber. It's like, okay, be careful with that one because you might burn yourself out and ruin this hobby for you forever if you're just like throwing yourself against the wall with like certain expectations.
Yeah.
Because having a clearer idea of what you're wanting to do is not just easier for you, it's also easier for the potential audience to know what they would be getting behind if they start following you. Because myself, I kind of jump between various different things as well, like various games, various ideas of like content and whatnot, which, yes, isn't very consistent. But at the same time, there is a common thread between it all because I've based my channel now around my experiences through gaming, and that can eventually just start to stem up into very particular areas as well. But having such a broad idea, yes, it's not exactly like people are going to find me for like very specific things very easily because it's not like I'm doing like game dev stuff like Cam and all this kind of thing. But no, having a broad sense of what you want to do gives you direction, and it also gives the audience direction as to what to expect. Makes it easier for growth.
And like another big thing is people absolutely love consistency in your content. So like, for example, when I went and watched a Danny video for the first time, you want to know what I did? I went to watch more. And because his content is exceedingly, consistent and specific, I got more. But like, that's the thing is, when you're consistent, you build up a back catalog of similar stuff, which people can go back, watch, and enjoy, which is phenomenal and really helps with your analytics. Like, that's the thing is you just got to build up a consistency of self, a consistency in, your content, in your process. You basically have to optimize your life in a weird way, which is a weird thing to think about.
It is. There's also another kind of avenue of this, which what I guess the best way to talk about this is like it's going to be a kind of essentially a triangle, if in sense of like things that you need to have, which is like consistency. You need to have like sense of self, but at the other side, you got to have like a little bit of innovation as well. Because if you just find something that works for you and you just delve into it, you kind of pigeonhole yourself, and eventually, depending on what it is, it could die down in interest. And if you start to change, your current audience, which is like there for something very in particular, is going to might not be interested in what you're wanting to go into. Which, I mean, we all know someone that's kind of pigeonholed their channel, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't a dig at you. Trust me.
No.
I know it wasn't.
I was actually going to somewhat disagree though, because like as weird as it sounds, I'm having more consistent views on game dev videos, not because they're game dev videos, but because people invested in Lumo Blaze. Like you can circumvent the whole pigeonholing by just being a good personality, but that's kind of more an exception to the rule.
Yeah. I would say that it's possible, but it's not likely, because you've been able to find a little bit of success with it. That's great. That's fantastic. I've seen other channels that have just really, really just like pigeonholed, and they've tried desperately for like a fair few years to branch out into different things, but the audience always just tries to drag them back to that one thing that they found and knew them for.
Yeah.
So there is this kind of balance that you need to put in of like, I do this kind of stuff, but I also try and do other things as well. Maybe you might like this, maybe you won't. I don't know. But if you try and just stick to what you see is extremely effective on your channel, but you don't creatively like it and it burns you out, be careful with that. Don't keep forcing yourself to keep going through it, because it's going to put you in strain. Even though it might be making you successful, it's going to drain you so damn fast if you do not enjoy it.
That was me with Let's Plays. I stopped having any sort of creative fulfillment out of them, so I stopped doing them. And then I didn't touch YouTube for months.
And there goes the consistency.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's the exact same thing with me. Like I've tried like YouTube in multiple stages at this point in my life, and each time I do it, it's like with a different channel. It gains a bit of traction, and then it just falls apart for various reasons. So like each time I do it, if I just kept that consistency and that kind of like level of growth going with it, of just like what I do, yeah, there is, from like past experiences, if I just stick with it, I'll get somewhere. So that's what I'm doing this time.
Yeah. You know what else we should do, my good friend, my chum?
Take a big piss.
Take a little break, yeah. So we'll be back in a couple of seconds for you, but for us, it's going to be months of harsh and grueling long-distance love. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
I'm erect.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to go. Be right back. You know, as a rising podcast star and the host of the Kalbus YouTube channel, I'm often asked a lot of questions. Who are you? Why are you in my house? What did you do with my wife? Where's the rest of my family? And you know what? I'll never answer these questions, but you know what I will answer? Your questions about the Patreon and all that it entails. So what is a Patreon? You give us money in exchange for goods and services. The order is a little bit subjective and sometimes subject to change, but that's roughly how it goes. So first of all, before we get into it, I would like to thank our top tier patrons, Alakar Safiro, Andrew Sorensen, and Audrey Resendez. These are our toppest tier patrons who give us all the money at once for the rest of their lives. It's indentured servitude. It's just indentured servitude. They're paying us for the job. No, these are our top tier patrons who support us monthly, just like the rest of our patrons, but at the highest tier physically possible. Will there be higher tiers? No!
because we can't think of any perks past the really cool ones everyone already gets. So what do you get by supporting our Patreon? Is this coherent? It absolutely isn't. But for giving us money on a monthly basis, much to the chagrin of your financials guy, you get extra content, the ability to ask us a lot of things, or nothing. It's really up to you how you want to do it, but you do get access to the monthly Q&A, you get access to the monthly recording of the Patreon episode. That's right, we are, in no uncertain terms, doing it live. And you also get to help us by just supporting the show. Like, genuinely, you also get access to the Discord in which all of these perks take place. It's really sick. So if you want to come over and support us, we appreciate it immensely. Patreon.com/podcasttangents. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you as always, and just your listening, just your tuning in. That's enough for us. So that said, I'm going to let you get back to Lumo in the present. This is technically Lumo in the future from the Lumo in the present's past. Time travel is all sorts of screwed up, and the fact that we have to entertain it for a midroll is a little bit infuriating. Let's just get back to the episode. Get back to the episode.
And we are back. I hope you enjoyed that ad read. What was said on it? Unfortunately, due to the state of quantum superposition that our podcast exists in, we don't know. But we hope you enjoyed it.
Well, we kind of know. We have a rough idea. It's just, we're going to play along with this idea.
Yeah, like, we can only assume that we said nice things about all of our lovely patrons. But you want to know what else is lovely? Having a job, which we both have.
This is true, thankfully.
You made me the host for this episode, and I am about as smooth as sandpaper. So, here's the thing. We've been doing a lot of work for the last year together because we are both, in no uncertain terms, funny YouTube boys.
The haha internet man.
And we also make, basically, for those of you who didn't come here from Kalbus, we're both on a channel called Kalbus, which is entirely just like us talking about, reacting to, and making comments on Reddit posts, because Reddit is an endless and bottomless pit of content.
I mean, that is the website. That is literally what Reddit is just user-generated content out the frickin' wazoo. So
it's honestly kind of amazing how much there is when you think about it, because it's like, I know that there's a lot of people in this world, like a lot of people live in societies with internet. Like, it's just expanding every day. So it's just like, it's weird to think about, like, the sheer amount of stuff that just gets vomited onto the public space of the internet literally every day.
Oh, yeah, looking at the whole, like, if you want to, like, zoom out just from Reddit and then just the internet as a whole, it's crazy how much stuff goes out.
Like, it is almost unquantifiable, in my opinion.
My mind immediately just went to, like, but what small percentage of that should we actually pay attention to?
Oh, basically none of it. That's like the funny part is like almost all of it is garbage. It is actually a little bit upsetting how much genuine informational waste human beings create. We've managed to pollute the internet, and that's just a sentence.
Well, we started with a plan, and then we had to go to the internet. We'll get there eventually. We'll break the internet as well.
I think we already have. But like that's the thing that always just I find fascinating. Is just how much gets on there. Because like, you know, we react to a lot of stuff on Reddit, and it's always like super weird to think about because it's just like, oh, here's a video of, you know, someone's pet. How cute. What a nice home video. Here's a dude who blew his fingers off with a firecracker. Oh my god, look at this cute cat. His name is Bartholomew. Here's live recorded footage of a shooting. It's like the content brevity and depth and just scale is it's so weird. It's the dichotomy of man.
Is this where we should start singing "Welcome to the Internet" by Bo Burnham?
I mean, that's really probably the most accurate introduction to the internet I think I've ever heard. God, that song lives in my head rent free. Have you heard the cover of it that Family Jewels did?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Oh my god, I actually kind of prefer it to the original.
Really? Why so?
Yeah, almost entirely because there's an entire thing at the very end, which is just an extra verse added on about like the horrors of online content creation and Twitch.
Ah, that'll
so,
be
like,
why.
It adds just a little bit extra, and it's just really, really good. But yeah, no, like that's the thing is we see a lot of stuff in our day to day on Kalbus, and it's just weird to think about. And like we've got stories some stories from working on Kalbus, which I think we can really talk about. I think we got some stuff here to say with words out a mouth hole.
True. I want to be a little bit careful about it though, because I don't want it to seem like we're ungrateful or anything towards Quite and some of the people that we've worked with.
Yeah, I actually just want to say straight up, like, I genuinely am super appreciative that we have, you know, this job, this opportunity, this platform. Like, it's like we do a lot, but that's kind of the fun of it, in my opinion, is there's just a lot of stuff to do. There's, you know, a pretty good level of creative freedom. Like, I might complain because I work 2 jobs, which makes it so Kalbus seems like it takes up way more time than it actually does, because it's just like, my work week is over. Time to work week. But in reality, it's like a very low-key, very honestly fun job. Like, I'm very happy that I end up, you know, that we both just have this position. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand what you mean. I think, fuck, my brain just went kaput on that one. Holy shit.
You're welcome.
What you're saying is absolutely true. Like, it's working with Quite has been really quite something. I say that in not a bad way at all. Like, I'm absolutely grateful for the opportunities he's given both of us. Like, I've been with Kalbus from the very beginning. Like, I was one of the first 2 editors, and I think either the first or the second episode was my edit.
Oh.
It was at the point where, like, I was in Kalbus from ground zero, essentially, and I was working with another editor who dropped off after a while, and that was tenuous. But I mean, where Kalbus is now is actually a really good place, I think. Like, Kalbus as a channel, as a Reddit reading channel, we are what I believe we are, like, one of the only channels that speak on posts for more than like 10 seconds.
Yeah, our style of doing this is exceedingly unorthodox, because it's like half of why people tune into Kalbus is because of the 3 brain cell Kalbus boys.
Well, I mean, we do get a bunch of comments along the lines of just like, why do they talk about a post for so long? I'm just here to see the memes. Then this channel is just not for you. Like, this, just go to one of the many other Reddit reading channels where they just blast through these things. I mean,
Well, like, actually, this is something that, like, I've always kind of had some level of confusion about, because I don't normally consume Reddit reading content. That's just never really been my scene until, you know, I started doing this job. But you want to know what actually always confuses me? When people are like, I don't want to hear these people talk about this, or like, I don't want to hear their thoughts, I just want to see the memes. Why aren't you just checking Reddit?
yeah. I mean,
That's always been like, that's always just like a weird topic to me, you know?
I think what it is the fact that they want a little bit of personality, but they don't want too much. But it's just also that kind of like hit of something new that you get with a lot of other channels. Because it's just like, here's the post, here's a quick, funny, witty joke, move on. At that point, it's just taking the effort out of reading, of like actually physically reading Reddit memes and just having it spoon-fed to you, I believe. That's how I look at it.
I can kind of respect, like, coming home at the end of the day, you don't want to like spend any effort to look at Reddit because it's just like you're just so dead. So I can imagine just turning on the TV, throwing on like a Reddit reading channel, being like consumption.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's kind of the same idea as like Daily Dose of Internet. Daily Dose of Internet is basically the cream of the crop of like the last couple of days of just like very interesting things. It's not Reddit reading. It's not any of that sort. So it's like it takes the top of what's coming out recently and like catches you up of what's going on the internet. And it's normally nice and wholesome and interesting. Reddit reading, you have to scroll through a lot of stuff.
Oh,
a lot. And so like Reddit reading channels, you'll notice that when channels cover the same, subreddits, there's every now and again, you'll see just like a single comment, 1 or 2 comments on videos just being like, hang on, didn't this channel do this exact same thing? Yes, it's because we're working from the same subreddit. This is how this works. It's not like we're all in some large collaborative server just being like, all right, we're going to do this video today. Let's do this, folks. Let's do this.
Can you imagine the comedy of just like big Reddit reading, organizing all of the posts that every channel will read? Like, what kind that's like my favorite conspiracy theory, that there is some like YouTube higher up dictating who can and can't make videos on specific things. Hey, you can't play this game. PewDiePie played it. That's against the rules. I'm sorry, it is. Like that's always been like my favorite like YouTube comment meme.
Oh, one of the other ones I really like is just like, oh, all YouTubers know each other.
No, we don't.
Oh, you make YouTube videos? That means you're automatically part of the YouTube Illuminati. You all work together.
I had someone ask me to send something to Condi, and I literally just told him to go and like shove it.
That's the thing. I've had people do that as well, and I've also had a bunch of people just in my Twitter DMs just being like, "How many lemons does Lumo have?" I was like, "Stop, just stop."
There's a reason I mute these people like immediately. They don't even get a chance. They don't even get told. They're just muted. They keep interacting with my Twitter posts, but they never get a response because I can't see them.
I've just very openly been, "Hey, this is Lumo's meme. Please don't drag me into this."
Oh, okay. Just washing your hands of it, I see.
Yeah, well, look, I actually made, there was this whole thing, there was a comment on a recent Kalbus video where someone did that, and then another person responded, like, hasn't Zen publicly said not to involve him in this? I was like, yeah. Because it literally is just a case of, if you're only being contacted by people to try and, pass a message along to somebody else, that's extremely shitty.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks butts.
And when you have a lot of people doing it, because the meme I helped create was so fucking, potent, and people just will not let it go. I've been dragged into it, and just like a lot of people are just asking me how many lemons you have. So it's just at this point, it's funny to begin with, but then it just kind of just starts wearing you down to the point of just like, stop. Like, it's funny to you, but you got to remember, you're only interacting with it for like a couple, 1 or 2 times.
Seconds.
Yeah, I'm dealing with it constantly. So please, just don't take memes too far, all right? Is basically what I'm saying.
Like, this is why I just mute people instead of letting it contain any headspace, because it's like, this is inevitable for any YouTuber. For any content creator, they will have long-standing running jokes that they're just going to get tired of, and that just happens. Like, and, it sucks butts, but it's part of the process. You will have your own comedy ruined for you in some way. That's why a lot of creators end up kind of having a lot of mental burnout from dealing with their, like, audience, because 99% of the audience is amazing, wonderful, supportive people. And then there's that 1% who's like 12 who doesn't understand that they're being really toxic. So what ends up happening is creators burn out because this is what they focus on, because humans inevitably focus on the thing that makes them feel shitty because we are idiot apes, and it causes issues, which is why instead of engaging with it, I just mute it. Like, I don't have to listen to it. Like, it's not exactly an issue. And then I don't have to deal with people like, oh, why'd you block me? Because they'll never know. They will never know. I mean, they'll know now, but like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing where it's like, no one wins in that scenario except for me, because I don't have to listen to it anymore. Like, I have had so many mental health problems because of like audience reactions to things and my own expectations and a bunch of other stuff. So I've spent the last, I would say, 5 years finding coping methods for my favorite hobby of making videos. I mean, that's the nature of anything public. You're going to get harshly criticized. You're going to get shit on. It's whatever. Like, you just learn to deal with it at a certain point. Like, that is kind of my favorite part, though, is just like, I get a lot of really nice comments on Kalbus's. I get a lot of really nice comments on my videos. And it's just like, yeah, this fills me with joy. And then I see a Lemons comment. I nuke it from orbit and I go on with my day. But yeah, so like the way that the process for Kalbus works is like, it's honestly kind of novel because it's just like a chain. It's like, it's an actual production chain, which is very refreshing as someone who works mostly by himself. So what happens is Quite hits us up in our group chat and it's just like, all right, boys, new list. And we, being the boys, acknowledge and cheer. And then we just hop on over to our task tracker, which is it's just Trello. It's just straight up Trello. And from there, basically we have the rest of the steps outlined for us. So like, here's the posts. Both Zen and I have never seen them before. So whenever someone's like, oh, this is scripted, it's not.
This is something that like we've been accused of a couple of times. Like, oh, it's all scripted. It's like, no, we're literally walking into this blind. We've just been given these posts. Let's do this.
Yeah, no one tells us what's in the list. The only thing we get is the occasional content warning of like, oh, this is might be a little bit too graphic, or like this is current events, or my personal favorite,
I don't get this one, but you guys probably do.
I love those ones.
God, those ones are always great because it's like a 50-50 shot if we get it or not.
I like it. It to me, it just kind of feels like a kind of dad energy coming from Quite, because it's just like, I don't get what these kids are laughing at. You might get it.
Yeah, there was a kind of Suba one, and he was just like, not my thing. You probably got this one. And I was just like, I do got this one. And I love the acknowledgement of this is probably funny, so we'll just see what happens. like honestly, the posts that he curates are actually really, really good for this, which is like probably why, like, because the thing is Zen and I are only so funny, but the posts we end up getting, if it's something that like we can really riff on, it goes really well. And like we get a lot of stuff we can really riff on, which is just really good.
Mm-hmm.
But so from there, we decide, okay, do you take it or do I take it, or are we both doing it? And currently, we normally like doing duos. It's kind of hard to schedule sometimes because of my part-time job. But duos are probably the ones that are the easiest for us to record because it goes so badly that we make a podcast.
Let's face it, the duos are the exact reason we are here right now.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments that were just like, man, I would love a podcast of these guys just talking, and
Still liking it? Monkey
this
Paw not go down yet?
This is your fault. You like what you've done? There are consequences to your actions.
But yeah, no, so then whoever has to record it records it, and we just pass the audio to the editor. And then the editing process is where things kind of get, I would say, interesting. Because we try and keep kind of a minimalistic editing style for the most part, like just not get in the way of the posts too much, because people do normally click on the videos to either see these posts or to see us. So editing is where we both have to kind of maintain a presence while also being exceedingly hands-off. Or at least that's how I do it.
No, it's more or less how I do it as well. This comes down to just like editing style for me. Like I've always I've been trying to like become as you say, become a bit of a presence as an editor. Because like for me, my editing style is very much make it as, make it flow well, make it look and sound well. But other than that, the editor should be kind of just not be seen kind of thing, which because to me, editing is very much a case of creating something that you can watch with a lot of ease. And that's it. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, there is so much value as well that goes into having an editor that's injecting their own personality and like being like a secondary character in the video as well. Like, this is a conversation that we've had a few times. And I agree.
Because you tend to be kind of hands off as far as like adding yourself in post. Whereas I, on the other hand, do it whenever I think it would be funny, which is, to my credit, not super often because most of the time you're already doing a pretty good job with the read and there's not much for me to like riff on. But every now and again, you'll say something that I actually like snap out of my editing days and like go, what did he just put in my ears? And then I gotta figure out, like, do I want to do something with this? So one time you actively made a point of like making sure you didn't say society. You made sure you didn't say that. And I remember you going around it, but I also remember you finally did say it, and I made like this weird emoji that it was the why would you yeehaw, the like really sunken in shadowed face with like a cowboy hat. And it just said society time bottom text. And at like 60% opacity, it just approached the screen with lens flares. This was an extra like 40 minutes of work. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. People commented on it. It was a hit.
Every now and again, I'll just do the good old one frame message as well when I just want to add something in. Which is always fun because only like the most dedicated people will be like scrub through to get the frame to find it, and you just see like all the comments just filled with what the message is. It's like, yes.
Yeah,
I love doing those.
That's one of my favorite things to do is to just interact with text. Like my personal favorite is you got really mad about something, but you were still trying to make a joke about it. And I remember asking you, and you're like, yeah, no, leave it in. If it's like a little bit uncomfortable, but like I understand, but like you should probably try and leave it in. And I remember that instead of just trying to avoid the fact that it was like both funny and slightly uncomfortable, I just leaned into it and was just like,
we're still going. This is still happening. You and me here right now, audience member, we are together. We are one. We are listening. This is happening to us.
And it was like this whole thing of just like 100% acknowledging the monologue that was happening without trying to take away from it.
I mean,
I can't
guess,
remember what it was about though.
I have no idea. I mean, there's a lot of things that make me angry, but normally I can contain that kind of stuff. Because when it comes to Kalbus, we have very different approaches to our to how we commentate in Kalbus. Like you go into like personal stories and like give like very much opinions and stuff like that, which I'm trying to lean more into as well. But I very much do I try and like take a third party stance, if that makes sense. Like I don't go into like personal stories and whatnot. I just try and make funny jokes about the, reactive funny jokes regarding the topic. I don't try and like put myself in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly why that is, and that's a self-confidence issue. It's not that I don't think it's the wrong way of doing things. It's a self-confidence issue, and I'm trying to break that because there's much more value to having, the host inject more personality rather than just try and be like off the wall, stupid humor kind of thing with nothing behind it.
Well, like, this is kind of the thing. Like, my style that I use on Kalbus has been refined over, like, God, how long have I been doing YouTube at this point? Well, like, that's the thing, is I've had a lot of practice just being, improv funny man, because I've had to. Anyway, I've been doing YouTube for 9 years.
That's cute.
Ooh, I just felt a couple of ligaments in my back stiffen. Ooh.
It's only come on, dude. It's only a decade. It's not that much. It's only nearly 1/3 of your life. It's all good.
What the fuck, dude? I'm shook. I'm actually shook. I didn't think I'd been doing this for that long. When was my first upload? Oh my god, it actually was 8 years ago. Oh, there's the Homestuck mod review.
Oh god, is that what I think it is? I've
unlisted that so many times that I've accepted it. It's part of my life.
Do you still? Was it you that had it? No, you had the Homestuck one. Okay, no, I'm mixing two things up here.
Well, like, what's funny is you can actually see when I started trying to take this seriously, because all of a sudden, the thumbnails start having a consistent style. They're not good, but there's effort put in. And every now and again, it just breaks because I got too busy. But we started serializing everything and trying to make it, like, more real to look at. And you can actually see sometimes my channel's been algorithmed a couple of times, weirdly enough. Like, I'm looking at this, like, the Homestuck mod review got algorithmed. 8 years ago, me playing Ant Farm Survival got way more views than it had any right to. Here's Binding of Isaac. Dear God. Don't tell me. How long ago was that? No. I'm actually concerned now. There's Amnesia. That's 160. That went well. I'm looking for when Binding of Undertale started. Oh, I found where my channel got its first boost. I'm sorry, I'm browsing through history. That's not the topic at hand. It's just interesting.
Hey, do you want to take a guess when my first video was uploaded?
2011?
2010.
Jesus.
And this isn't even my first channel.
Oh, hey, I found the first video with you, bear poaching from Brawlhalla.
Oh God, that was the beginning. Oh geez. Oh man, Brawlhalla. That's taking me back.
But yeah, no, like, Undertale was 5 years ago, and that did really well. But I had some really well-edited videos that got, like, a couple thousand. Like, one of these is 20K. Like, that's nutty. Undertale did consistently good. Everything else at this time did consistently shit. Man, this is just weird. It's just weird till, yep, 5 years ago, Binding of Undertale, found it. Oh man, and then I tried to play Soma, and it sucked because that game was so far up its ass. Man, this is just weird to look at. And then Papers, Please, which went really well, honestly.
Okay, now you got me. This isn't exactly good podcast content here, Cam.
I'm sorry. I just completely fell down that hole.
Hold on.
Because it's like,
You've got me now considering. I'm now looking at my other channels that I've worked on and just seeing roughly what happened with them. Videos, let's see. Oh, that's all gone. Okay, yeah. That channel and the suggested channels with it.
is it a bunch of our old associates of whom we no longer associate?
Oh, yeah.
Man, we've really been through a lot for YouTube. Like, it's just weird to think about how long we've been doing this combined.
Okay, so I'm not going to mention the channel. I'm not going to mention the channel at all because it's a dead one from like 10 years ago. Holy crap. So this one of the first channels that I worked on was with a buddy of mine from college, and we basically played through games, and the idea was that we were making, through each game that we play, we would just, do achievement guides for it. Something nice and simple. And because at the time, like, Achievement Hunter was a thing, and I took the name very literal, and I was like, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. So we just started doing it. One of the first videos I've ever put out, 6.8K, and it's a fishing guide for a game.
That sounds about right, though.
But no, it's we
always end up fishing.
Oh god, yeah, it's in our blood. No, 6.8K 10 years ago. That's crazy. Oh my god, the old After Effects template I made for an intro. Okay, we need to stop doing. I need to close this. All right, Kalbus.
I don't know. I think that was a good detour. Like, it's weird to think about, again, just how long we've been doing this and like how it affected both of our styles. Because you've always been like more scripted and more structured, at least in recent years, whereas I've always been a ball of chaos. Like, real talk, even my scripted videos for like the game dev stuff, half of that's improv. Most of it's improv, really.
I mean, I'm not so much scripted to the point of what I'll do is I just come in with an idea and then I just bring like whoever, if I'm doing it with someone, then I just bring them along and then we just improv from there. I just have an idea and I work around that. That's literally it. And then I'll just like do a couple of scripted parts to like tie the story together, and that's it. Like I'm very much into it's my stuff is very much improv at this point as well.
Yeah. But like that's good though, because improv is basically what we do in 90% of our work nowadays.
Let's face it, it's also a much easier on time-wise for preparation and whatnot. Because it's not like you need to sit down and write a whole script for each video. Just like 1 or 2 sentences, give the idea, set up the premise. All right, let's jump in. Let's do this. See where it goes.
Yeah, like honestly though, that's probably the best way for like gaming YouTube content, because script and structure is nice, but it's good for machinimas and not much else. Or at least as far as non-review content goes. Like, it's good to have a concept if you're doing like anything involving roleplay, which a lot of your stuff tends to do with like Phasmo and everything. But for the most part, like just being able to hear a sentence or see an image and just bullshit off it is so damn critical.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's exactly that. It makes things so much simpler, makes it faster, and it's just generally a good skill to have. Not just for content creation, it just means, it just keeps the mind sharp. I don't know. I'm trying to say things.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Improv keeps the mind going and keeps you quick. Like, that's the thing. You've said multiple times, so you like how good I am at just like being able to bullshit something together. That's because while I'm listening, I'm formulating an answer in my head immediately. Sometimes on Kalbus, I will laugh for a little bit too long. That's me loading the next sentence. Like, you find ways to optimize the creative process on like a minute-to-minute basis, because that's how you survive the improv. Improv is more depthy than yes and. Yes and is a big part of it, but there's more to it than that. It is not nearly that simple.
Sorry, that just sounded like the end of a sentence. There wasn't really much I could add on to that.
But yeah, like that's kind of the thing though, is like you're taking improv classes in VR chat, yeah?
I'm trying to. It's just whenever they hold, like the group I'm with, they hold it at like 11 p.m. my time on a Saturday.
Oh.
No, it's 11 p.m. on a Friday, which my sleep schedule has been so fucking messed up the last couple of months that I've not been able to do it. Like, I really want to do it, but it's just time-wise and just energy-wise, I need to go into it being awake and alert. And that's just like that's like perfectly in that middle section of just, I'm either going to be extremely busy with other things, or I'm going to be dead to the world and I'm not going to be able to do anything. So it's like, it's at that perfect time of the week where it's just like, I'm mostly not going to happen.
Weirdly enough, like, is it an American-based group or is it a European-based group?
American-based.
Might be worth trying to make your own, honestly.
That would be good, but I don't know anyone in Europe that has improv knowledge. Because, like, the people that run this other one, they've been doing it for years and they teach. That's the issue. That's why I want to be a part of it, because they have experience. There's no point trying to start up something and try and teach stuff if I don't know shit.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Like, it'd be good to have a group for practice, but I understand the desire to effectively gain knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. One of the main reasons I wanted to go to these improv classes was to learn improv. I want to become better at a bunch of stuff, because improv is, as we were talking about, very central in a lot of the stuff that we do content-wise now. So, you know, bolstering a core skill and becoming better at it just makes sense.
As weird as it sounds, I think that improv as a skill is so alike to just being a good conversationalist that if you're good at one, you have a high chance of being good at the other.
Ah, shit. That's why I'm so
no,
bad.
You're working on it. You're working on it. It's okay. I love you.
I don't need your approval. What the fuck is this?
But on the topic of ending conversations awkwardly and abruptly, I think that's all the time we have here today. Honestly, feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah. Oh wow. That's how long the waveform is. Cool. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So to wrap up today's lessons, if you want to do fun, creative things, improv is a good skill to have, because if nothing else, you'll be better at talking. Unlike us, who can barely form a sentence.
Can I go back to bed now?
I'm going to send Alex back to bed, but after he tells us about any fun things he has in the pipeline.
Bed.
All right. I'm working on tools still, so I'm not back on YouTube yet.
But I'm coming. You will not be able to avoid this.
Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Bye. Make sure to rate episode and interact on the podcast platform of which you use your ears so that we might make the happy Dolands and do more thanks. Bye.
You keep bashing on me for messing the intro up. Holy crap.
Yeah, it wasn't the intro. I'm not a hypocrite yet.
I can't do the intros. You can't do the outros.
Yeah, about that? Yeah. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.